to fit that background as best we can, what you'd like to ask about the situation in Japan. So the 3 Mile Island accident was not comparable to Fukushima. It was a much less significant accident. One reactor's core was destroyed, and for a period of 5 or 6 days, it seemed like a very dangerous condition. Then it came under control. Some radiation was released, but nothing like what you've seen at Fukushima. But it was the worst accident in a civilian power reactor anywhere in the world up until that time. So it was a cause for major concern to the U.S. Regulatory system and the federal government, which regulates nuclear power in the U.S. And there was a presidential commission formed to investigate the accident. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission set up its own independent investigatory group. The Congress did an investigation. Several of these groups had subpoena power. They prepared extensive reports. U.S. reactors of the 3 Mile Island type were shut down for a period of about 6 months. The companion reactor on the site was shut down for 5 years. The other reactors in the country continued to operate, so that was a different situation from the one in Japan. But the Nuclear Regulatory Commission suspended all of its licensing activity for a period of about 2 years while it prepared a full report on the lessons that it considered needed to be learned and the schedule on which they needed to be applied to the operating plants in the U.S. And not only were all of those reports made public, but all of the backup information to the reports was made public also. So, for example, all of the interviews that the Presidential Commission undertook in preparing its report were available. All of the data from the power plant itself in terms of radiation releases, in terms of what went on in the control room and in the power reactor instrumentation, that was all released. Interviews with the governor of the state of Pennsylvania and his decision-making with regard to evacuation all became public. Interestingly enough, under the U.S. Sunshine Law, any commission like the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, meetings are considered to be public if at least 3 commissioners are involved. So during the accident, during the basically 5 or 6 days of the accident, every time 3 of the NRC commissioners gathered together to talk about it, even if it was quite informal in one or another of our offices, someone from the commission staff was always present with a tape recorder to the high technology tape recorders of 1979. It wasn't as though we had iPhones, but they made a record of these discussions. And within 2 or 3 weeks, those records were typed up, transcribed, released to the general public. And